Ah, 2021. This year will always be special to me because I started streaming full time. But it's also been hell. NFTs, COVID first in Delta and now Omicron flavour. Year 11 of a Conservative government in the UK. Yikes. As we cast 2021 into the hazy halls of memory, let's take a quick second to put down some details of my existence so that in the future, I can pinpoint the precise moment that everything went wrong. Incidentally, future me, if you're watching, I hope we did something about this. Okay, cool, let's go. As previously stated, I started streaming this year on the 24th of March, with a total of 145 streams by the end. I made my first 24-hour stream attempt on my birthday, the 15th of July, and managed 6 minutes shy of 18 hours. I'll try again next year. Every single stream except the birthday one has gone up on my VOD channel on YouTube, alongside several streams made in 2020 and even one I found from 2017. I have some new visuals and style changes coming for my streamiversary in March. I'm still working on those as we speak. So, onto the games. Yes, I played some games on the internet this year. It's kind of my thing. These games were either new in 2021 or were new to me. For the former, my game of the year would probably be Tormented Souls. If you include everything I played though, maybe it was Devotion. It might take it. But I pretty much had a great experience with everything except for a few titles. What follows is a brief description of my thoughts on each. Detention. An amazing 2D puzzler with outstanding design, scares, and story. Devotion. A game made by lovers of horror, gripping from start to finish. It was probably the scariest thing I played this year. It was also the second thing I played this year. I peaked early. As my usual experience. The Evil Within. A competent horror action shooter with cool design that went on a little too long and failed to deliver a satisfactory ending. Would have liked an ending. Near Replicant, version 1 point numbers. A melancholic, beautiful JRPG with touching side quests and a great approach to multiple endings. What a soundtrack! Resident Evil 8 Village. A well put together action horror game. However, it was a game of two halves where I ended up preferring the first. I still had a good time, even though I prefer 7. Call of Duty Cold War Zombies. Not really my thing. I tried. I think I prefer multiplayer modes with an end goal we all work towards. It felt grindy and aimless. Demon Souls. I loved the first 8 hours, and then the game became impenetrable. I don't want to read a wiki, for fuck's sake. The game came with a manual on the PS3, and it should have had one on the PS5. I will return this year though. I want to like the Soulsborns. Tempest Bound. An adventure platformer indie demo made by a good friend, fun and addictive. I can't wait for the full game. I can't wait to be speedrun champion of the full game. Nier Automata. I didn't finish it. It was fine, and it started opening up to me. I could feel the little bits of Nier charm in there, but it was just so different from Replicant that I kind of bounced out. I will return to finish what I've begun. Haunting Ground. One of the survival horror greats that I've never played. I mostly enjoyed it. The systems are a little archaic. Some unintentionally humorous moments helped with my enjoyment. Huey is a good boy. Anatomy. A creepy indie game that is all about the anticipation of the scare rather than its delivery. Does more with less. A nice little creepy experience. Outlast. Horror games need to learn that punishing me with death and then forcing me to replay sections punctures any atmosphere the game might have had. However, the lore was mildly interesting. Alien isolation. Horror games need to learn that punishing me with death and then forcing me to replay sections punctures any atmosphere the game might have had. However, the lore was mildly interesting. Tormented souls. A love letter to survival horror that amazingly manages to become its own thing in the process. Absolutely killer puzzles. I loved every second and I didn't want it to end. What more can you ask? Soma. I wanted it to end. Some of the moral questions were interesting, but the protagonist is a dummy, and it went on for far too long. And the answer game is no. The Theseus paradox is flawed because a boat isn't a real thing, it's just a human concept. I pulled every plug in this game with no regrets. Next! Back for Blood. I mean, it was okay. It was just okay. But locking progression behind multiplayer when I can barely get 4 people together for a podcast, let alone a game? No. Bad. I don't want to play with randos. Resident Evil 4 VR. I can legitimately say that it made me feel sick. I'll try again in 2022, perhaps with the teleportation turned on. The Evil Within 2. Took all of my complaints from the first game and made improvements, broke up the linearity, gave me a plot with stakes, and an ending. It was very enjoyable. I'm now one of those people who want Tango Gameworks to make it a trilogy. And guess what, Tango? You can call it The Threevil Within. Now pay me. Lost in Vivo. Also a game of two halves, where I ended up preferring the first half. It was great atmosphere and thematic imagery, but that petered out into poor SCP-esque fanfiction. Corgi is a good boy though. Coraline. I mean, it's a kid's game. I don't know what I expected. I guess it made me want to watch the movie again though, so that's cool. Parasite Eve. I quite enjoyed the sequel in my youth, but Parasite Eve 1 never came out in this country, so I decided to finally try this one out. Some amazing PS1 visuals mixed with 90s Squaresoft charm, but some archaic systems can hamper the enjoyment slightly. Daniel Dollis is the man. And there you have it. Following on from new to me are titles I replayed in 2021, either to finish off trophies or DLC modes I hadn't played, and sometimes just to do challenges just because. The Last of Us Part 2! I beat the game on Grounded. Got the platinum. Hardest part? This bit at the end of Abbey Day 1. Fuck this bit. When I beat this, 3 or 4 hours into this checkpoint, this here was sheer human will pissing in the face of adversity. Surprisingly easy part? The Rat King. The Rat King ain't shit. You heard me. Resident Evil 7. I played through all the DLC modes except 21. If I can beat 21 in 22, then I'll finally get the 100% on Resident Evil 7. I hate 21. It always cheats. It always cheats. It always... Silent Hill 4. More on this in the next section. I did attempt it blindfolded, which was educational. I also beat the game mirrored and upside down for Halloween. Because I'm a boss. The Darkness. I replayed it for the podcast. More on that later. And decided to do it on the hardest difficulty this time. Pretty much this room was the only hard one. And I knew it before I began playing. Because even on normal, this church is hard. On hard, it's very hard. But not impossible. Dead Rising. I started replaying this for the platinum, and yeah, need to return for the platinum. Alan Wake! I was replaying this for the story. I will return, but I will probably get the remaster and get the platinum on the remaster. Gregory Horror Show! I replayed this first for the story, and then more in the next section. Silent Hill! I said next section, damn it. Also, I did this one mirrored and upside down as well, because, you know, it was there to do, so I did it. Dead Space. Replayed for the platinum, but I also did it with the impossible cutter run, where you play hardest difficulty and cutter only. Like, the only weapon you use is the cutter. With no upgrades from a previous save either, so no new game plus. Not as hard as it sounds, which is Garlips talk for it can be cheesed. Hardest part was probably this room, until I realised that you can leave the entire ship and go shopping, which was nice. Resident Evil Remake HD. I started replaying this for the platinum, and I will return next year. Untitled Goose Game. I had 2 speedrun trophies remaining to get, so I tried getting them. I failed. They still remain. They are still very hard. Speaking of speedruns, in 2021 I began speedrunning. This was generally regarded as a bad move by everyone, but I stuck with it. For me, it was great. I took to it immediately and became enamored with the grind. I also loved how it opened up some old games for me to basically replay forever and not get bored of. I'd watched speedruns before and enjoyed them a lot, including events like GDQ. So I began with Silent Hill 4, quite fittingly on April Fool's Day. I picked up Gregory Horror Show on the 3rd of June, and I picked up Silent Hill on the 5th of August. These were my very first times just playing through the game, trying to get a fast time. And then here are my current PBs by the end of year. I'm hoping to add more games next year, as well as improve these times. This year I appeared in 3 separate speedrun marathons for charity, Flintstock 2, the Rocky Horror Speedrun Show, and Horrible Games. I also did some hosting at UKSG Autumn. These were all great events. I even got to help out on Rocky Horror with the visuals, and I'm looking forward to being involved with future events ran by the same people next year. I might even try running one of my own. Maybe. For now though, I will just thank again the people who picked me to run at those events. Thank you. Since watching Enigma's run of Silent Hill 4 in 2017, I think it was SGDQ, I've always had this goal of being at a speedrun marathon someday. I wouldn't have dared dream that I could go from my first attempt at running to a marathon event in 4 months. It still feels like a dream that I did, to be honest. So thank you. That was a big one ticked off the to-do list. Another notable moment in streaming for me this year was joining the Clock Tower stream team. A wonderful group of people streaming predominantly horror-based games. Here I made some great friendships, and I took part in a few events, the highlight of which was a TTRPG crossover event hosted by Mistrich for Knights of the Bantam. This kick-started my love for role-playing, and now I'm playing D&D, semi-regularly, with a desire to write my own TTRPG one-shot maybe for 2022. I can't believe it took me so long to find speedrunning and D&D, but now that I have, I'm thankful, and I'm making up for lost time. Podcast. For anyone who doesn't know, I have produced a podcast with some good friends and fellow streamers since 2017. Axton 10_61 and Maticus Finch, previously known as Lost in the Warp Pipe. The cast is called Spoilers of the Damned. We discuss horror and cult movies, games and TV, as well as more general chat about whatever we're playing or streaming at the time. We made the change in late 2020 to start recording through Twitch, so I'd have less editing to do and casts could be released quicker, and that really paid off this year. In 2021, we recorded 14 episodes, which is actually a really active year for us. We also began streaming our recordings live on our own official Twitch channel. We covered a real mix of things, And we also picked up our 4th co-host in the form of Jason Vader, an all-round swell guy. Axton is currently on hiatus, so we close out the year as a trio again, but we're hoping to keep the fire burning into 2022 and become that power foursome once again. Here's what we covered, and some general thoughts on each. Cabin in the Woods. This was a rewatch for me. I quite enjoyed it. There are layers in this movie. Little hints for people who are watching the second time that were quite rewarding. Baskin. Beware the Demon Potato. This was an interesting film. It strayed kind of into the gory, torture porny kind of area for me towards the end, but the fact that it wasn't all about that made me okay with it. Pulse, aka Cairo. This is a film I've wanted to watch forever. People have constantly, kind of lauded it as one of those eerie, great early 2000s Japanese horror that really broke through in the West. And yeah, it was quite good. I'm not sure about the ending. Resident Evil 8 Village. I previously stated I really enjoyed the game. I preferred 7. I think the first half of Village is much stronger than the second half, but I had a good time. I played it 6 days in a row. I mean, it's got to be good if I can play it 6 days in a row. White Noise, starring Michael Keaton. White Noise was new to me. I had never seen it before, but I had seen the sequel for some weird reason. White Noise was fine. It wasn't amazing, but it held a plot together, and it was a movie. It was a movie. The Lost Boys. This was a rewatch for me. I've seen this film several times, but I only came to it in my kind of later age. I didn't have any kind of nostalgia for it. However, since I've watched it a few times now I have major nostalgia for it. It's basically like, if I had to name my favourite 80s film, it's maybe The Lost Boys. Maybe, probably, sort of The Lost Boys. I still have a crush on Kiefer. Can't help it. I mean, look at the guy. Don't judge me. Look at the guy. Look at the guy. The Crow. This was my choice. I'd never seen The Crow. I knew about it. I knew about the tragic circumstances surrounding Brandon Lee. I just needed to see this movie. One of my favourite bands at the moment is Iceland Kills. They've been covering a lot of horror movies in their songs, and I decided to kind of make a couple of my choices about Iceland Kills. Things that I'd heard songs about, but never actually seen. And wow, The Crow was just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And it's a miracle that they managed to pull it together, to be honest. And I'm glad they did, because it's a fitting tribute to Brandon. The Darkness. As previously stated, I played this on stream for the podcast. It was a revisit, and I played it on hard because I thought, why the fuck not? It was great. I think The Darkness is a really interesting proto, just before the main FPS control scheme and look and feel got ironed in with Call of Duty 2 and 3. I feel like The Darkness is this really interesting halfway house between old styles of FPS and new styles of FPS, and I really think it holds up, to be honest. Although it needs a run button, I do agree. It needs a run button. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This was great. It's the first time I'd seen it. I don't have a crush on Kiefer's dad, but I think Kiefer's dad was my favourite part of this movie. Lovely twist ending that I'm not going to spoil for you. You should go watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's gooey. It's a gooey good time. I know this was made in the 70s, but can we get me on the poster? Garlips. It was a gooey good time. American Psycho. This was another one of my choices. It was another Iceland Kill song. I wanted to watch American Psycho. I'd seen so many memes, so many bits and pieces of it. I wanted to finally experience it, and I'm glad I did. It was amazing. It stands up. Christian Bale is fantastic. He carries the movie completely on his shoulders. His well-honed, muscular, point at the camera and wink shoulders. The Machinist. This was the first time I'd seen it. It was great. It was nothing like I'd expected, given the few stills of the movie that I'd seen. Christian Bale, again, absolutely carries the movie. I mean, I think that's kind of indicative of his style of acting. He carries the movie. I don't think I've seen a movie with him in where he doesn't, to be honest with you. Demons. This was a joy. It was trashy and awesome. I loved the sequence where the hero of the piece rides a motorcycle around a cinema with a katana, slicing off the heads of demons. It was pretty good. There was 80s metal playing in the background as well. I mean, digging up the marrow. This was a really interesting indie film. It had Ray Wise, of course, Lilo and Palmer from Twin Peaks, and I loved the style of this. It was very low budget, which kind of shows in some of the monster designs and how they're realized into a real kind of puppet. But overall, I really liked it, and I really liked the tone, the approach to it. I think the best way to show this to people is to not tell them what it is and just let them watch it. Hellraiser. Hellraiser was fantastic. It was the second time I'd ever seen it, but I saw it at least 15, 20 years ago, the first time. So it was really good to watch it again and really appreciate all the nuance, all of the great prosthetic effects, and when that skeleton rises out of the goo, it's just, it's magic. I'm looking forward to going through at least the second one, but I probably will watch all of them, even the bad ones, because that's what I do. I complete the list. That's what I do. I complete the list. Gremlins. This was fantastic. I don't know why I thought it was a PG kids film. I thought it was like pretend horror for kids. Halfway through the movie, when the mum picks up a knife and proceeds to kill 3 out of 5 gremlins, I was like, I'm on board with this. Yes. Microwave kill. Sure. And we decided to close out the year, do our Christmas episode on Gremlins, which was a great choice there by Manicus Finch. So please do, if you can, check out the podcast. I think you'd enjoy it, especially if you like me talking shit all the time on my stream. You would probably appreciate the podcast as well. And it's great fun, because we're all friends, and we all talk rubbish. Failed projects. I just want to take a second to acknowledge some of the things that I've tried and failed at this year. To only list accomplishments feels false. It belies the efforts that I made and the lessons that I learned from my mistakes. So, I tried to start up a reaction channel. Some people despise reaction channels and reaction content, but I love it for the most part. I love music, and I love watching someone experience a track for the first time. I was hoping that I could catalogue my experience in a similar way, as I get quite animated by music that I connect with. Nothing went wrong with the reaction side per se, but I haven't released any of the videos that I made, and this is because it took too long. I saved up a bunch of songs to react to, which meant that half the year I had to avoid those releases, so I wasn't even listening to music that I knew I would probably like, because I was saving the reaction. And then when I was in a place to start recording them, I recorded them, but my perfectionist nature led to me making too much work for myself. I wanted them to look amazing, I wanted to put effects in, and all of that time adds up. So the edits are still waiting on like 5 songs that I've recorded, and the train has truly passed for those in terms of when they came out. Like, we're talking 6 months, 8 months ago these tracks came out. I'm not really a trend follower or trendsetter, but I wanted to at least be kind of close to those songs' releases, and I'm nowhere near. And to release them now seems a bit of an afterthought. I have learned, though, that much as with the podcast, if I can record those reactions as live, then I can turn them around quicker. So I'm going to try and do a reaction stream once a fortnight or so in 2022, where I record my reactions and it needs no editing. I just chop it up and upload it to YouTube. And then I can release quicker. So who knows, maybe in 2022 I can breathe new life into this idea. That's what I'm hoping. NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, for anyone who's unaware, is November. And it's this kind of project where you get the first draft of your book out by essentially just saying, I'm going to write 2,000 words a day, and I'm going to get this out of the door, and then we can start working on the novel, we can start improving it. It's not that in 30 days I will have a perfect book, it's just trying to get the words out. I've had several ideas for books in the past, I've got them all written down, and I've tried in the past to do NaNoWriMo, and I failed. I thought that this year would be different, but it lasted one day. One day. I tried to stream my sessions, my writing sessions, with background music in the background, and it went okay, but I realized quickly that 2 streams a day exhausts me, and quite annoyingly, I had worked this out far earlier in the year, but Dumbo here decided to try and do it again, because, oh yeah, 2 streams in the day is fine. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. It's kind of like 1 stream a day is my happy number. Add to that, I just find it kind of hard to keep up the pace of NaNoWriMo. I'd rather just schedule some time a week to write and get it done over the year. Rushing myself up it does not produce the results that I want. I'm going to try in 2022 to assign a certain amount of time a week to write, and I'm hoping that without an audience or with a time limit ticking in my ear that I can manage it. And that would be good. If I could have by the end of the year a rough draft and I can start working on it, that would be fantastic, because writing is one of those things I've always wanted to do. It's one of those few things that I actually feel I'm good at, and so I want to be able to share that with the world and, you know, maybe become a writer. That would be fantastic. I am a writer. I don't need to become a writer, but you know what I mean. I would like for it to become a paid gig. That would be good. Goals. So, all that's left for me to do is lay out some goals for myself 2022. I'm going to try and keep them pretty basic and achievable, as not to disappoint myself in the next one of these videos. That would suck. So, here's the list. Are you ready? Number 1 priority. Get fit, lose weight, get active. Okay? I need to lose weight. I need to get active. End of story. That's number 1. Get a first draft of my first book. As previously stated, I need to be doing some writing at least once a week, and I need to be kind of like getting towards a final draft. Finish my indie game treatment. So basically I'm writing a treatment for an indie game. Currently working title is Abstraction. That's probably not going to be its final title, although please don't steal it, because maybe it might be, I don't know. Anyway, I'm writing this treatment, which basically a treatment is like a complete list of everything in the game, like script, characters, designs, how the gameplay should work, everything. It's like a game's Bible. If I write a treatment well enough, someone should be able to take that treatment and turn it into the game that I envision. Except I'm going to be the person to hopefully make that game, because I also want to be an indie game dev as well, because why the fuck not? I don't do enough already, do I? Fucking lazing around here doing shit fuck all. Yeah, I'll make games too. Fuck it. Fuck it. I need to finish the treatment, and then I need to look into maybe learning about how to make games this year. I have a background. My university course includes 3D modeling, programming, so I have a basis. I have a bedrock. It's not like I'm coming at this from zero, but I do like to make work hard for myself, don't I? Number 4, keep up the streaming. Keep up the podcast. So basically, I just want to maintain a fairly regular stream schedule. I want to make sure that we hit at least 12 podcasts. 1 podcast a month average is fine. If we can do more, that would be fantastic. So like we did 14 this year, which was slightly over the average of 1 a month. So if we can hit 14, if we could even hit 16 or 20, I'd be very happy. Plus I get to hang and talk with my friends every 2 weeks. It's perfect for that. Learn some more speedruns. Improve. So basically I want to pick up some more speedruns and improve on the ones that I already have. I am only on the leaderboards for Silent Hill 4 and Gregory Horror Show. I would like to improve my times on those leaderboards. In fact, my Gregory Horror time is not actually on the leaderboard yet. It's only my previous time. I haven't uploaded it yet because I need to get the video proof on YouTube and things like that. So yeah, I'm hoping to pick up more games. Like, I'm never going to be the world's best in any game, okay? It's just not going to happen, except maybe Tempest Bound. Who knows? I'll try. But The point is, I just want to pick up a few more games so that I have options when it comes to submitting for marathons, and so that I can just keep learning speedruns. I like speedruns. Speedrunning is fun. It makes me feel happy. So I would like to pick up a few more and improve my times. End of story. Scripted YouTube content. So it's always been the dream to make video essays as well. I've got a couple of scripts on file and I want to write a few more. I basically want them to be focused on horror games under the Dark Gazing channel, which was what I used to call myself, Dark Gazing, before it changed to Garlips. Garlips is a name that allows me to play a horror game, but also allows me to play, I don't know, Spyro and Mario Kart and everything else, because Garlips doesn't sound too horror-y, but Dark Gazing definitely did. So Dark Gazing is reserved. It's the name I'm going to use for my TV show, my YouTube TV show. And I would like to get around to starting to make episodes of Dark Gazing in the new year. I have scripts. It's just a matter of collecting the footage and deciding on an aesthetic and moving forward with it. And I need to move forward in 2022. That's what I need to do. Mastermind a speedrun marathon event. So, having attended a few speedrun marathons this year, I definitely know what I would do differently. Not that any of them were doing something specifically wrong, but it gave me some experience in the matter, and now I feel like I would like to put on a speedrun marathon. And I've had some talks with my good friend Acta 10_61. We have some ideas based around our Discord, which incidentally, if you feel like joining a Discord, why not join ours? It's as good as any. It's a fucking place with people in it where you can talk. We are the Pizza Collective. Why are we called the Pizza Collective? Because Axton likes pizza. But it's a place for like-minded streamers, content creators to discuss techniques, abilities, share, and all sorts of other things. Feel free to join it. I'll probably put a link in the description below. We are thinking of running some kind of event as a Discord that would be marathon-based. It would be speedrun-based, although not all the content would need to be speedruns. In fact, we're thinking of doing some kind of like exhibitions of certain games that you usually wouldn't speedrun, because if I want to show you guys Guitaru Man on PS2, Guitaru Man, amazing game. You can't really speedrun Guitaru Man, but you could play it and just have people enjoy it for 45 minutes because it's not a very long game. So the idea would be maybe that we would have not just speedruns, but a whole link of different bits and pieces. And so the idea is to try and put on a speedrun marathon event next year. Raise some money for charity at the same time, maybe learn some things about how to run an event, coordinate people and resources and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying to do that in 2022 if I can. And I'm pretty sure that's all I have to talk to you about. Hopefully it's not been mind-numbingly boring, but I'm very happy with how 2021 has turned out. I'm looking forward to 2022 hopefully being a step up in terms of stuff that I produce and stuff that I create. New visuals coming for my Streamiversary in March. Yeah, I'm excited about the future. I just need to make sure that I keep those goals in mind with everything that I do, and really kind of focus and knuckle down on those as core principles for my time in 2022. Meet you guys back here in a year? Yeah. 2021 looks to be useless now. Discard.